The poet Carter most reminds me of is Billy Collins. Nah, I don't like that. Poems of passionate response to the world, to inner life, to feeling. No. Author of 9 previous poetry collections, Jefferson Carter is among Southern Arizona's preeminent poets. That's bullshit. His new collection, Diphtheria Festival, is now available. For an autographed copy, contact him on Facebook. That'd be a good idea, but if you know Jefferson, you probably already unfriended him on Facebook. Jefferson Carter is an asshole. Jefferson Carter is a sexist. Maybe even a little bit of a racist. Oh God, Connie, his wife, is a saint. Bill, why are you even friends with that guy? Many people think Jefferson Carter is many things, but let me tell you a little about who Jefferson Carter really is. Jefferson Carter is a volunteer for Sky Island Alliance and their unofficial poet laureate. He's a tireless advocate of environmental policies, good at environmental policies. He donates proceeds to his book often to the Sky Island Alliance. He's also a good friend to have a beer with, and he's the editor of Zocalo, a local arts magazine in Tucson. And send him your poetry. He'll probably reject you, but send him your poetry for that. But Jefferson's a good friend to have a beer with. And the other week, he told me something interesting. We went and listened to some jazz in Tucson, and this really great jazz saxophonist was playing. And Jefferson turns to me and he goes, "Oh, the way that guy takes everything and breaks it up and delineates it. I wish I could do that with poetry." But Jefferson actually does do that with poetry. He takes the most mundane moments in life, the most simple things in life, such as a trip to the yoga studio, dinner with friends, the most basic things, and he breaks them apart and gives them his own little perspective of the world on it. And I tell him he was brilliant on it, but he'd never let me forget about it. And I'll also tell you that Jefferson, he's a real excellent performer, and he has a certain charisma about himself. And a little while ago, we were at another bar. We were sitting there, and I was raising hell with the bartender. And I was saying, yeah, Jefferson will read you some poetry. He's got 9 books out. So he actually did go get a couple books, and he brought it in, and he read her some poetry. And she's a gorgeous young girl, like 5'11". She told me 6'1" in heels. And I'm sitting there watching him charm the hell out of her. And I'm thinking 2 things. First of all, Jefferson Carter is a cock blocker. And the second thing, I was like, you know what? That guy's still got it. Jefferson Carter, he's a great poet. So here's Jefferson Carter, cock blocker, great poet.
I was going to give Bill a ride home tomorrow to Tucson, but Bill, you're on your own. I taught for 30 years at Pima Community College in Tucson. Taught mostly composition, but I taught some poetry writing. My students sometimes would ask me my advice if they were going to give a reading. I said, well, always start with a poem about a pet, because that's a good icebreaker, so I'll follow my own advice. This is called Thunder. Lightning, then, of course, thunder. We can get used to anything. The window lit up, shakes, and we're comforted, pulling the blankets to our chins. The dog, half blind, diabetic, fat as a woodchuck, burrows between us, panting, trembling like she's never heard thunder before. Maybe she hasn't. She lives so much in the moment. Here's her day. I was in, now I'm out. I was out, now I'm in. You going to eat that? You going to eat that? I'll eat that. Here's her night so far. What's that? Thunder. What's that? Thunder. What's that? Thunder. Oh, thank you. I have to confess I don't have an MFA, so I'm a little, I have a PhD in 18th century literature. And the reason I have is because I love Jonathan Swift. His satire just somehow got to me. And even when I'm trying not to be satirical, it comes through, and it's a problem. People think I'm mean. And I am. So, like Swift said, he hated the human race, but he loved individuals, and that's how I feel. I cannot bear our species, but individually, I love my friends and friends that I've, to come. So this is a poem called Please, and the end is a reference to a joke by Henny Youngman. I wake up eye to eye with the cat's anus. He's purring on my chest. Why me, O Lord? Like FaceTime with a rusty washer. I hear good things about the ungulates, their table manners, their clean plates. My kind of animal, sweet-smelling, modest, not like cats weaving between your legs, scent glands under their tails, rubbing until you smell like them, safe enough to love. Take my species, for example. I'm a person, Person. Before the plague of white eyes, each nation called itself the people. Take my species, please. As Bill said in that lovely introduction, which I'll never forgive him for, I volunteer with an environmental group in Tucson called Sky Island Alliance. And one of the nice things about the job, or not non-paying job, is I get online and do data processing, and I've gotten some poems out of it. My first project was to put into the computer the number of jaguar kills in northern Mexico and Arizona. And as late as 1940, there was a jaguar in Tucson. If you've been in Tucson, you know that the Santa Cruz River, but it's dry. It wasn't dry in 1940. And the jaguars, it was a very difficult thing reading this stuff because we've just pretty much killed them off. So this is called kill data. My soap, cruelty-free, handcrafted, contains olive oil. I smell like a salad. Do Muslim men do household chores? I consider converting. Did their ancestors, like ours, keep kill data? After Mass, December 23rd, 1940, Santa Cruz River, a jaguar, male, roped, killed with rocks, 138 pounds, tail 72 inches, stomach full of frogs. Can you even say this in Arabic? My new book is called Diphtheria Festival, and someone asked me how I got the name. I was doing some work for Sky Island, and I was looking up a moth's name, Diphtheria festiva, and I got on Google, and Google helped me out and said, "Did you mean Diphtheria Festival?" And I said, "No," but I got the title for the book. Diphtheria festiva, a black and white moth, its golden wings bearing hieroglyphs. I Google Diphtheria festiva. Did you mean Diphtheria Festival? No, but thanks anyway. Now I can't stop imagining diphtheria victims enjoying themselves among the party lanterns and tents beside a dirty river while my Facebook friends hand out lemons and instructions for making lemonade, admiring the blue skin of the dying, their festive barking, their bull throats and bloody noses. Yes, they call me Mr. Negative. The vocalist knows me. I should leave, but here comes the verse I like. When you pack your bags, you gotta pack two, one for yourself and one for your bad attitude. Know what's cool about Diphtheria Festiva, the hieroglyphic moth? The evasive system, an organ in its ear activated by a bat's high-pitched note, an organ that signals its wings to spasm. The moth survives, like all of nature's darlings, involuntarily. Spirit animal. My animal, the platypus, of course. Not the penguin, too black and white. Not the wolverine, ferocious and smelly. The horse, no, why share with all those white women who call themselves night wind? The platypus reminds me of me, his ambivalence, his moral versatility, his head like a furry spatula. Did you know the platypus boasts a poisonous spur on each thigh? Nerve damage, paralysis, death. Welcome to our biome. His spirit animal, me, of course. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You don't have to clap after every poem, but that's cool if you do. But if you don't, I'll feel bad, so you're kind of locked into this there. And one of the things I really like doing in my, not job, but my volunteer moments, I just like messing around with scientific language. So I'm really not that good at what I'm doing, but I'm having a great time fooling around. And so this poem may not make a whole lot of sense, but it was fun to write. It's called The Last Bumper Sticker. Do you believe in magic? Sorry, I meant science. Geospatially stratified, random sampling, field-specific conductance. How about spheres of discharge, multiple seeping sources, climate refugia? No? Then adjust your earbuds. Get ready for some extreme karst, for guest ethicists and your favorite Boko Haram musicals. Adam had 'em, the first poem about fleas, the first joke about rabbits. It'll be fun, wasn't it? The last bumper sticker, no jobs on a dead planet. Now, I have a group of poems I used to call the wife poems, and I now call them partner poems because I like to, acknowledge diversity, and also it sounds better because of the alliteration. So I'd like to read a couple of those. And also, if nobody beats me up, then so. Heavy. When in bed, she throws her thigh across mine. I recall that old slogan, he ain't heavy, he's my brother. She ain't heavy, she's my wife, but she is heavy. When I shift her head because she's snoring, it's heavy as a kettlebell. Awake, what's heavier than her cheerful gravitas, which the online dictionary points out rhymes with forward pass. When we leave a party, friends say to each other, she's a saint, his wife. He could be such an asshole. Who knows what a soul weighs? I know love weighs a ton. This poem was inspired by a line from Joni Mitchell's song. So the line is, we are stardust, we are golden. We talk for hours about having nothing to talk about. After all these years, we still don't resemble each other. To entertain her, I wonder out loud about eating the cat. Would his thigh taste like dark meat? Rushing to get ready, she asks, what is wrong with you? Stardust? No, more like radon and neon, those noble gases which don't bond but boil separately at the same temperature. Marriage is really, no, I don't want to talk about it. This is called Rice. My love hates my singing, 5 feet of heaven in a ponytail. She's only 4 feet 11 and practical. Her advice, don't clip the cat's toenails when you're drunk. I dreamt I had dandruff like yellow grains of rice. I scratched and scratched my scalp, the rice planking into the steel bowls arranged around me. My love tells me I'm not perfect, but I felt pretty good feeding thousands. Do you know what a Thundershirt is? You know what it's? Yeah, you put a Thundershirt on your dog. It makes him feel all cozy. Okay, this is called Thundershirt. After the war on privacy, some of my best friends became chat rooms, each one sounding just like a hive, documenting its own demise. Manly unguents, cisgender, heteropatriarchy, microaggressions, murmuring innumerable. Jumpstart your Thundershirt, babe. It's all disco to me. Oh, you got that one, right? Okay. This is Beyond the Pale. I like conversational poems. I like playing with the conversation, then moving the lines around and maybe getting a sound that wasn't there before. Beyond the Pale. The electric eel can generate 600 volts, a charge 6 times stronger than a household outlet. Ever heard a politician brag about his eel? Keeping it classy, I'd call that. Before scrolling the polls, shocking, breathtaking, beyond the pale, an imaginary white picket fence protecting community standards. At the coffee house, not one newspaper available, lots of ironic pork pie hats, though. When I'm president, anyone can say anything. Ever heard of locker room banter? Well, ladies, bring it on. That's for my Donald Trump. One of the really nice things about my country is that any war poem you write will never go out of date, because this has been going on, continuous warfares are, so I feel, I thank all those presidents that have done this for us, especially George W. So this is a poem from an earlier book. It's called Don't Get Me Started. Last night at yoga, I listened to Elliot breathing next to me like a patient on a respirator. What if there really is a soul, something the color of duct tape or transparent as plastic sheeting? Think about it, I say at breakfast. My wife glares and tries to hide behind the classifieds. She's tired of my negative bullshit. Duct tape, plastic sheeting. Gee, I wonder why they're pushing petroleum products. She leaves the table, her toast untouched. Remember chanting 1, 2, 3, 4, we don't want your fucking war? I said to a girl across the room, what if they gave a war and nobody came? I meant it. It wasn't bullshit. But she untied her macrame halter top anyway. I like that slogan, no blood for oil. Maybe I'll record it on our answering machine or shout it from our porch. You know, calls my wife from the other room, if you were happier, you'd be happier. Only 2 more. It took me about 14 years to write a poem about 9/11, so here it is, for better or worse. It's based on the iconic photograph of the man falling. It's pretty astonishing, so if you're familiar with that. The falling man, the tower's gray and white stripes, like a corduroy curtain behind him. The man, dark skin, wearing a pale sports coat and black slacks, the man isn't falling. I've superglued the photo upside down to the inside of my closet door. He isn't falling, one knee lifted, arms rigid, trapping the billowing skirts of his jacket against his sides. He's anyone you can imagine, the father of many girls, an expert on the language of Greenland, which has no expletives, a novice step dancer practicing his routine. Sometimes when no one's around, I open the closet door and say, "Good morning, dancing man." This will be my last poem. I mean, tonight. I hope not forever. It's called Helen. She's almost 90, her forehead like an uncloudy day. She must have been a beautiful baby. Now she farts during yoga, plow pose, cow face pose, even corpse pose. You can hear her backfiring like an old Vespa among the scented candles. Nobody laughs, certainly not me. No jokes about gasasana, the 5 inner winds, the vibrations of the blissful sheath. I am practicing Ujjayi breath, pretending I'm fogging a mirror, imagining my blurred reflection, which is almost nothing, and preparing to bow and say the divine in me bows to the divine in you. Thank you.